Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome. This week's topic is on pelvic health. I'm Kelly D, and this is Dr. B, and I'm coming to you from Costa Rica. So this week, we're going to get kind of into a trauma and emotional and the physical contents of pelvic health. And because Dr. B is an expert at this, she's going to have the floor right now. And then we're going to get into some really awesome topics to help you with your own healing purpose as well. And then we'll go from there. So, Dr. B, take it away.
Yeah, welcome, guys. Okay, can we just take note on the fact that she's in Costa Rica right now and I am in cold Idaho. So there's a little bit of jealousy happening. Let's just be honest right now. So the island life looks beautiful. And we're grateful,
Come
Kelly.
anytime.
Yeah, I would love to. And we're grateful that the internet and technology allows us to still be together no matter where we are in the world. So yeah,
Maybe a few
okay.
hiccups, but we'll work through it.
We might have a slight delay, so if we talk over each other and that gets annoying, we're really sorry. Right. Yeah, so like Kelly B was saying, I am a pelvic rehab practitioner, and this has been my jam for almost 11 years now. And so I feel like I can bring to you guys kind of that out of the box idea through and beyond pelvic health as it is more commonly known, pelvic floor dysfunction. And it's very, very often that the physical aspect of the pelvic diagnosis is the one that is assessed and then treated. But what I noticed early on in my journey as a pelvic rehab practitioner was that there was a large percentage of the population that just wasn't getting better with that traditional focused more on pelvic floor dysfunction, muscle dysfunction, maybe some tightness or laxity, or maybe different things, bladder, sexual dysfunction. But commonly, it was more often than not focused in just the pelvis and not really looking outside of the box at the mind and the body and its contributions to the pelvic dysfunction, if we can call it that. So it was quick in my journey when I started in the pelvic world to realize, wow, there is a large population that this traditional model just isn't working for, and there's a population that it is beautiful for. So we're not to undermine it by any means, but there are various things that can contribute to pelvic dysfunction, and it's not just the pelvic floor or just the pelvic fascia. And so we really want to look beyond that and assess the whole person, including any kind of emotional or mental things that might be going on. So me personally, I was, as you guys have known, if you've been following this, I was sexually assaulted and raped, and that caused a lot of pelvic pain and a lot of pelvic dysfunction for me. This was prior to going to grad school, so I didn't even know that getting help was a thing. And so learning that traditional model and implementing a lot of those tools helped. It was good to have that. It was good to have something to work on, but it wasn't really magical for me and what I've seen with a lot of the clients until we started to integrate the mind body, the emotional, the energetic components of it, looking outside the box. And that is still within the physical realm, like pressure systems. Have you had a surgery? Is your diaphragm working well? Do you have any restrictions up the chain? Because at the end of the day, the pelvic floor area, the pelvis, is the bottom of that. And so if you're not breathing correctly through here, or you've had concussion and your neural dural system has some kinks in it, that is all going to contribute down the chain. And so the pelvis, being the bottom of that for the most part, is going to see a lot of increase in pressure, and then therefore maybe have prolapse or have incontinence, have pain, lack of orgasm. So there's so much that goes into these pelvic diagnoses, the pelvic and sexual health dysfunction, beyond just saying it's a pelvic floor problem. So that's really what Kelly and I want to bring to you guys, is this awareness that it's you're a whole being, and there's so much more than just grouping of muscles at the bottom of your torso that are driving more than likely that are driving what's going on. And so we just want to create this awareness for you that there's so much beyond that. So really allowing us to look at some of the more common drivers that I've seen over the last decade, any kind of trauma. So that could be sexual trauma, physical trauma, emotional, mental trauma, abuse. Trauma can also be surgeries. Trauma can also be childbirth. So, and that could be miscarriages and abortions as well. So we're not just talking the actual birthing of a child, but things that are associated with that pregnancy, birth, and postpartum phases. And so even think about it, that idea, if you're a mom, you've been in that postpartum phase, and just how much shame and guilt sometimes we take on if we're not able to breastfeed, or if our baby is colicky and we don't know how to soothe them. And so there's a lot of these feelings and emotions that occur, especially in that, like, you know, 3 months postpartum phase, where we're really trying to be the best we can be, and our child being happy and giggly indicates that we're a good mom, and like all of these things, right? I remember when my son at first wasn't latching well, and I just broke down crying. There was so much guilt around, like, maybe I'm not cut out for this, maybe this isn't where I'm supposed to be, I can't do this right, I'm not a good mom, right? All these things, all of that goes into the system and can store and can change the mobility of the tissue, and it can change our bladder as an organ of control. And so if I don't feel like I'm in control, my bladder might start speaking and having spasms, and I have leaking, and there, so that really there's so much more to think about and to put into the equation to say, what is it for you specifically? Because we're all different. What is it for you? Is it emotional, mental, physical? Is it a combination of all of those? What's going on that's then therefore driving this dysfunction, or this symptom that you're experiencing, right? One of
And
the
just
things
to
that,
sort of,
yeah, I was
just
just
if
going
I
to
can
throw it
just,
over to you.
yeah,
Yep.
I just wanted to add on though that in terms of post childbirth, is that if we don't have a network there to help us, to teach us that it's okay if the baby doesn't latch on, and it's okay if you know, accidentally pee your pants or whatever it is that happens that nobody seems to mention after you
Right.
have the baby, that
Mm-hmm.
that's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen, right? So then we create this whole um, atmosphere and environment for ourselves. We start to self-reject our own worth, right? And this stems from that little bit of that environment, just a touch of it, not having a support system, either from our spouse or family or midwife or doctor or
Absolutely.
whatever it is, right? Then we tend to close in, and we start to take on all of the responsibility, when in actual fact it's not us at all. It's we need
Right.
to clear that, we need to create balance and alignment, and understand that it's important that we do have a network in
Mm-hmm.
regards to that particular topic. Sorry, I had to interject there.
No, I love it. And I think, on top of, there's so many things that, especially if we're just talking postpartum for a moment, there's so many components to that, that maybe it's commonplace where, oh, well, urinary leaking or defecatory leaking. Well, you've had kids, or you're older, you've been through menopause. And so your tissue is different. So therefore it is normal. No, I'm sorry. It is not normal. It is common, very common. But
Yeah,
that's your body speaking. That's your body showing you there's a dysfunction happening. And there are modalities out there that will help with that, right? And so no, you don't have to live the rest of your life peeing your pants, or not able to jump on a trampoline and hang out with your children, or run and chase and play with your children, right?
yeah,
Or
that's right.
or as you're aging, same idea. So, the menopausal piece of things, it's your body speaking. And so it is imperative that you address what it's trying to tell you,
Right
so that
from
you
the
can function.
get-go, right? It does start to affect you. Like in my time right now, I'm going through menopause. So the trauma that I had, which is, in no comparison to other people, but I was still affected by certain things. I'm in childbirth and different things, but it has affected me. I'm in menopause, and thankfully for people like you and different modalities that are out there to help in the healing, it has helped me quite a bit on my journey through menopause. So it
Yeah.
affects the whole chain of our
Yeah.
lifespan, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we could even get into chakras, right? And so like for me, and Kelly can speak way more expertly on this, but like my root chakra and sacral chakra were never fully developed due to experiences that I had in childhood. And then therefore cut to 35 years later, I'm now birthing my own child. And how does this layering system, because we're always talking about the layers, how does what happened to me then, or the lack of whatever, then contribute to my postpartum, my birthing even, and postpartum experience?
Mm.
Okay. It's because it's that foundation, right? It's that stability, it's that security. And now am I questioning my own ability to be stable and secure for my child?
Mhm. And like we're going to get into this later, but within the root chakra, that has to do with our survival mode, our foundation, and all that kind of thing. So it truly does affect us right from the get-go,
Mhm.
all through our lives. So balancing the base, the root chakra, as well as the sacral chakra, are imperative to healthy pelvis, like
Yeah.
pelvic health, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so much too. I've seen so many clients that come in and have pain with intercourse. That's a really big one. Or um they've gotten to the point where they're basically not wanting to be intimate with their spouse, and especially with penetration, because it's so uncomfortable. And whatever they're driving, his history, their story, whether it was sexual assault, rape, not something non-consensual, or if it was an experience that just was very negative. I've had some stories that have been shared with me where maybe their very, very first experience, even though consensual, there was something that happened immediately following the experience that made them feel shame or guilt. So maybe, for instance, the woman didn't orgasm and the man was, expecting her to orgasm because that would dictate his like manlyhood if he could get his wife or his partner to have an orgasm. And then when she admits that she didn't, and he rolls over and ignores her for the next couple hours, there's lots that can be captured in that experience. So
That's
that,
shaming, right? That like that whole
absolutely.
element of sort of
Mhm.
shaming right there, right?
Yeah, and that specific client, it was decade later that she was finally getting help, but had endured pelvic pain because there was so much muscle tension and tightness
Mhm.
and breath holding pattern as a result of that moment of like, I'm not good enough, I didn't, my husband looks at me a certain way, like whatever those thoughts and beliefs, down the line. And then every time that she would interact and be intimate and there was penetration and it was painful, every single time just added to that. And over the years or months, it just got more painful and more painful. And then there was this, wife guilt of, I'm saying no. I really want to, but it hurts so bad that I'm saying no. And now I'm not being a good wife because he really wants it and I'm not serving him. And this could go either way. I'm just giving an example of a woman in this position, but absolutely, could
Sure.
it be a male with erectile dysfunction or some others? Absolutely. So, it's this
And who knows what
cycle.
he's bringing to the table.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we really, coming back full circle to, you have a pelvic diagnosis or you have pelvic pain, and you've been led to believe that it's a physical driver, and it very well could be. I personally see that more often than not, there's so much more that has led to it, whether it's a one-time experience or whether it's a layering. Typically, there's layers and layers of, ultimately why you're in this breath holding pattern, or why you're in this fight or flight sympathetic overload, why there's tightness, or there's this fear, right? This fear of not being good enough, or the sexual experience, being a trigger from a previous sexual experience that wasn't a healthy one. So really just very passionate about awareness for you guys in that, and especially if you have seen a pelvic floor physical therapist and you didn't get benefit, at least not the way that you wanted it, maybe you saw some relief, but not to the capacity of your desires, like, don't stop there. We're not all cut from the same cloth. And like I said, that traditional model is beautiful and has a very beautiful place in the healthcare system, but there is really a lot more beyond that, that not maybe every therapist is aware of or informed in or certified in. And so my point being is that there is help, and don't stop just because one route didn't work for you.
Yeah, and by all means, do not feel in yourself that you are like
Mm-hmm.
inadequate in a way
Yeah.
because that therapist was not able to help you. Like
Mm-hmm.
the beauty of Brianne's with her way is so beautiful in the sense that she brings everything to the table. So it encompasses the whole body, mind,
Mm-hmm.
spirit, if you will, right? So she really encompasses all of that. And I'm not trying to sell her or anything. I'm just letting you know, right? Of course,
Yeah.
that she's very, very knowledgeable. And, if you do suffer from,
Mm-hmm.
pelvic health issues, like get informed, look at different therapists, different modalities that are available, because really at the end of the day, we want to be healed. We want to be
Yeah.
in alignment with who we are, right? We want to have that glorious life that we're here to actually live.
Yes. And have lots of sex if that's what you choose, right?
Yeah, of
Like,
course.
be free to chase your kids, to jump on a trampoline, to choose when to pee and when not to pee, and to, of course, have a healthy sex life. Um,
Yeah, be sexy.
and I just want to put in the plug that if you are searching for a pelvic rehab specialist and you have had trauma, it is important to know that your pelvic health therapist is trauma informed and has that awareness, because again, no two people are the same, no two stories are the same, but you just really want to make sure that they can address that mind body piece, and not just the traditional body piece of that side of things. So
All of your needs. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Because it very well is, it very often is linked. And so you want to be able to do both, and really have somebody that can understand how that linking happens. So yeah, very cool.
100%.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah, but there is help. So go and reach out if you guys just aren't certain. And I actually had a grad school buddy last night reach out via text, and she's like, hey, I have a patient who is in need of your type of services. She's not super jazzed about online. Is there anyone in this area of the country that would be wonderful to work with her? And so I got online and did a bunch of research to find somebody that has those kind of mind body qualifications that I knew, because this client had trauma. And so just ensuring that they were going to be taken care of from not just the physical side of things, but also from the mental, emotional side of things. So they are out there, I promise. So reach out if you need help, but just know there's so much more to what is going on. More often than not, there's so much more, and you really want to address it all. It's like, if I picked a weed right here and I didn't get the root of it, right? Sometimes that root is like way back in, you start picking the weed and you're like, holy cow, how far is this thing over? If I just pick the weed or cut the weed off at the lawn, right, that's just going to grow back. So we really want to make sure we get that whole rooting system when we're treating you, and getting you back to your optimal
100%.
function, best life. So we're going to circle back here for round 2, where we're really going to get into that emotional body, and get into more of the chakras, and really use Kelly's wisdom here to dump on the beauty of all things energetic and emotional. So Kelly, did you have
And
anything to
just how
say?
the holding patterns, right? Like how we have like the certain holding patterns. So that will be our next sort of segment. And then we're going to obviously offer some tools to help, like in any way, right?
Yes. So we'll see you back here for part 2 next week, guys. Take care.
And also be in Costa Rica.
Rub it in, will ya? So grab your drink and join us.
Yeah.
Love you.
Cerveza.